Good morning, everybody. Jim Williams and Sean Miller here on a Wednesday. And Sean, a lot of things going on today. Uh, what are some of the headlines in the soccer world that we should be paying attention to?
Well, when you look at, let me see if I can pull this up real quickly here. Here's yesterday's. The Premier League does a really good job with their site. I think, the results from yesterday, Arsenal and Newcastle drew 0-0, and the Arsenal coach was kind of going crazy in the touchline and the after the match. So that was interesting. The other games to me, obviously Manchester United, Bournemouth to me was really interesting because they changed the lineup around and they still performed. Fulham, huge Mitrovic goal beat Leicester, but to me this is the shock here.
I was going to ask you, Brighton put some numbers up yesterday.
It was 1-0 in the second half, and you'll if you see here, they scored 3 goals in 6 minutes, including and the fourth goal was like comically bad, and Everton got a penalty with in extra time, so it didn't really matter. And we really talked about this with the table now. Everton right now is on 15 points. They've played a match extra. So, if Nottingham Forest gets a result today against Southampton, and you see Amadeus, you see Amadeus. If Nottingham Forest gets a result, if West Ham gets a result, if Wolves gets a result, and even if Southampton gets a result, Everton will be, there's a chance they're in the bottom 4. The manager, I'm hoping and praying that he is not fired before Friday when they play Manchester United, because Duncan Ferguson will be in charge, and that's going to be a mess. But
so where's Brighton?
Brighton is all the way up here in 8th. Fulham is in 7th here, tied on points with Liverpool. Brentford, you see Chelsea here all the way down to 10th ahead of their game against Manchester City on Thursday. But when you start to look at, I think we looked at this a little bit.
Yeah.
Everton's matches here coming up, they have
some tough ones.
They have Southampton next Saturday. Like, if they're going to make a change, it has to be now, because Southampton, they're in last. West Ham struggling. Arsenal, obviously top of the league. Liverpool, struggling. Leeds, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Brentford. They have some winnable games coming up here, but they're a mess.
You think they'll make a change?
I would see if I can.
Good morning, Amadeus.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Okay.
Let's see what we got for odds to be Premier League odds. Next manager sacked. Frank Lampard minus 175. Now, here to give you a little bit of context here, David Moyes is doing one of the worst jobs ever. This is a team that was a potential top 4 team the last couple of years and fell apart late in the season, and now in the relegation zone. And he's only at plus 800, and he's gonna get sacked. Antonio Conte is like this close to walking away from Tottenham, and he's at plus 1600. Frank Lampard, I think the sacking is like imminent, like it's gonna happen like in the next hour, the next 2 hours. There's no way they can. Amadeus, did you watch that game yesterday?
What the Everton one?
Yeah. Did you see that fourth goal?
You know, I didn't watch because I was watching three other ones: the Fulham, your United, and obviously the Arsenal Newcastle. But all I remember is it was 1-0 at halftime, and then I checked in when the Man United match was coming back. I was like, oh, let me just check if it's still 1-0 in the Brighton. And I saw 4-0. I was like, what the hell happened
They
here?
scored 3 goals in 6 minutes, but the fourth one was like comically bad.
What happened? What they do?
Just you know what? There's if you look at their squad, the squad stinks. To be honest, like I was talking to Kyle Franco and my guy Mike Samsel, who does. We used to do the podcast together and all the different stuff. About I said, look, and Kyle is a Fulham fan and Samsel is a Leicester fan. I said, would you take anybody from the Everton squad right now, except for maybe Pickford? And maybe to push Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He goes, no, I don't even want them. Like the squad is atrocious. And they're one of these teams. First of all, they're building a new stadium. I think we talked about that. And they're in like so much debt. They've lost like hundreds of millions of dollars in the last like hundreds of millions of pounds, which is even worse in the last few years. So if they go down, they're a little bit like Leeds was. When Leeds made a semifinal of the Champions League in 2001 or 2002, and within 2 years they were in the championship because they overspent. They tried to get back to there's a great story, like a great video about it. They tried to get back in to the Champions League and they missed. They got Europa League and it just fell apart. And they were in the championship for 16 years after that.
Wow.
Just because it's so hard to get back to the Premier League. Like if you don't come back right away in that first year, it's hard. You could, Blackburn's a good example. I mean, some of these teams, they have with the new stadium, everything going on. It's an absolute disaster. Like I know the league doesn't want Everton down, but they might go down. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff around this league right now. I mean, obviously Arsenal still with one loss, but what stood out like from those games you were watching yesterday? I'm Dennis.
Oh well, I thought in the Arsenal Newcastle, Newcastle wastes a lot of time, and I think if they weren't getting so much help from the ref in that match, they would have been red. They would have had a red card and lost that match. Absolutely, any other ref would not have tolerated the crap they were doing. There was times where Arsenal was trying to go quick and Newcastle would straight up kick the ball away from them, just like into the stands, or they would throw the ball. Even their manager at one point, it was out for a throw in, and as the Arsenal player was coming to grab it from his hands, the manager just tossed it away. Like it shows me, I don't know, this Newcastle team is very, very dirty team, and the fact that
Foxy's going to be mad about that one.
Oh, but they are. I just call it how I see it. What I mean, and I think the fact that they have 9 wins and Man United sitting under them with 11 wins, I think that win factor is really going to start to take over soon, because Man United looked damn good in their match, and I don't see, maybe Newcastle stays in the top 4 just because Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, all those other big clubs are so bad, but I think, Newcastle's they got to score some goals. They clearly did not try to win that game. They literally just tried to frustrate Arsenal and come away with the 0-0 draw. So,
I think 8 draws is like you said. I mean, you got to start. It's not just at the bottom of the table. You can't. If you finish the season with 15 wins, 12 draws, and it's going to be more than that. 18 wins, 14 draws, and 6 losses or something like that. That's not going to be enough. It's at 70 points. 54, 66 points. Maybe you got to start winning these games. And it's the same. When you talk about the teams down here, you're almost better off. Like Leicester winning 5 games and losing 11 with a couple draws, because those extra wins are going to be the thing that keep you up. Like, obviously, I don't think Leicester's going to go down. I think they'll spend some money. But
you think Brighton's going to move up higher in the table?
They might. They're good. He's a good coach. They play. I mean, they're missing some players, but they're
Well, they play as a team.
yeah, they play. I mean, they it just shows you as well too. Like everybody thought it was that guy Grant Potter. Maybe it was the system. And this guy De Zerbi is very good. I think this year, I'm not sure Fulham is going to stay in here. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, they're very good. They score goals, but, I think Fulham will regress back towards the mean, towards 10, 11. But, maybe they do. But I just think this is a year here where, Brighton has a chance because Chelsea's a mess. I think Brighton has a chance. I don't think Brentford, same thing. Too many draws. And they're going to be without Ivan Toney at some point for a while. It's going to be. I would right now. I think City's going to catch. I think that was a big win. I flip flop with this. I think City might catch Arsenal, but it's going to be close. I think excuse me. I think United will finish third at this point. And then fourth is going to be a battle between Newcastle and Liverpool. That would be my guess. I think Tottenham starts to fall away a little bit. They're a disaster. I think they win enough games where they'll stay around here. Fulham, if they keep scoring, could. But yeah, I think this Brighton team has a chance to get into Europe, like West Ham did this year. And obviously West Ham could get into Europe if they win that Conference League this year. They'll be in the Europa League. This is Chelsea's the wild card, but they only have 20 goals in 16 games. I'd like to see what happens on Thursday. I think City is probably going to have a result after watching Arsenal drop points and then be them dropping points the other day. So I would think City gets a win there in London, but I just I'd like to see maybe Brighton battling, Fulham battling some of these teams, Brentford battling, because I think we need to see that every once in a while.
City really bothers me right now with the way they're playing. They were playing this way prior to the break, and then they came out, and they were one of the few teams that came out and didn't really – obviously they had that 3-1 win over Leeds, but Leeds still didn't look terrible in that game. They had their chances despite, getting blown out 3-0 pretty early. But I don't know. Something's wrong with this Man City team. I don't know what it is, but I'd be worried about their match tomorrow because I know Chelsea hasn't been good, but Chelsea's at home. They tend to drag out draws with this City side in the past. When Chelsea was good over the last few years, obviously beat them out in that Champions League final the one year. I think this is one where, Man City might be dropping points again with another 0-0, 1-1 draw here. It's all like they're having trouble scoring right now. I don't know what it is with them.
Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting, I think, to watch.
Now, that's a team I would say has fallen out of form. If we want to go back to
Chelsea?
No, Man City. Like that's a team right now that I would say has fallen out of form versus Liverpool, who's just on the decline. Like this is a Man City team where you look at the roster and you think they're going to make a turnaround eventually. They're not playing well right now, and I would be worried going into Chelsea tomorrow. But I think, once they start to string 2-3 wins together and Champions League comes back, I think this is a team that's obviously going to get hot. Maybe they can catch Arsenal. Maybe they don't. But that's a team that I would say is out of form right now.
And then we had the Copa del Rey matches yesterday. Villarreal won easily. Bill hopefully took them. Valencia won easily. Bill hopefully took them. Real Madrid did not win easily. It was a battle on that cow pasture they had to play on at Casarino. Levante held off to beat Getafe with a late goal, 90+1, and then they got the Vincent Iborra got the red card. So interesting game there, and Sporting Gijon beat Rayo Vallecano. So it's the same thing. I mean, you got a whole slew. Oh, look at that! Serie A is already back, and your AC Milan's already won a game.
Yeah, I know they almost blew a 2-0 lead this morning.
Atalanta gonna
6:30
keep
a.m.
it. Yeah, there's some early games here in Serie A.
Yeah, they have some in every window, basically. They had the 6:30 games, now the 10, and then the 12:30 and the 2:45.
And with the Napoli playing Inter later today, that's an interesting game. Napoli still hasn't lost. Jim, I don't know if you've seen. Oh boy, here we go. Incredible defensive performance for us playing against Arsenal and the ref. They were playing against
Foxy. Are you delusional? Arsenal was playing against the ref the entire match. Like you have some serious. Like this is showing me some serious, Newcastle colored glasses. Okay, you guys should have had a red card and lost that match. The ref was helping you out so much. You can't give Arsenal 2 yellow cards for tugging on a guy's shirt, but then Newcastle goes in, takes a guy's legs out from behind, and there's no card at all. Yeah, save me this is a story, Foxy. You guys did that was an undeserving point that you earned yesterday, and it was Arsenal who played against the ref, not you guys.
Jim, I don't the streaming Serie A is another one of these things that's on Paramount Plus. Obviously Paramount has the Champions League and the stream and this and some of the others. I think they have the Scottish League as well.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just I don't know if you get. Sometimes I forget those games are on, but I'll remember.
One of the big things in streaming yesterday about soccer came out that Amazon is going to put out an app now.
Really?
Yeah, and the app is going to give you the times on everything that they're doing, but they're also going to give you the times and the streaming locations for all of the professional sports that goes out there. So if you have a favorite team, let's say just for the sake of argument, you liked, let's pick a team, Manchester United, right? So you like Manchester United. If you sign up to the upcoming app, it will give you the times of every game they play and where it's going to be on. So
yeah, here's the story about it right here. If you're looking, it's on TechCrunch. That'll be interesting. I think
they haven't announced the time that they're going to launch it, but I would guess probably toward the end of the summer.
Yeah, that would probably be before NFL, before Premier League,
college football, and all the
college football. Yeah, Arsenal scored in every home game and won every home game. Not yesterday though. There's only one team that has beaten Arsenal this year though. So,
it's hard to score when you play like Morocco, put 11 guys behind the ball.
You get 11 keepers. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. They couldn't. Arsenal, the way they like to score though, they like to get right into the box. They come down the wings, cut in, and then they got all these guys stationed in the box. It's hard to do that the way Newcastle plays with so many guys in the box there. So it's understanding. Arsenal, they had their chance in the first 10 minutes of each half. They came out and pressed. And when they didn't score those goals, you knew it was going to be a difficult. Even in the last 10 minutes, they were really pressing. But it played well against the style. But
I think we're going to see a lot about Arsenal here in the next. We're going to learn a lot here in the next month because they play at Spurs after the I forget who they play in the FA Cup.
After Conte gets fired.
Yeah.
See who Arsenal plays Oxford United on the at Oxford United. So Arsenal plays Spurs at Spurs next Sunday. They play Manchester United, the only team that has actually beaten Arsenal in the Premier League this year. Eric Ten Hag's tricky Reds. And then they play Everton at Everton, and Everton's going to have a new manager. That's going to be a tough game. They play Brentford. Obviously, Brentford is really good, and then it's the City game. And then they got to go to play Unai Emery 3 days after that. He's going to have them ready to play Arsenal. So, I think we'll start to learn a little bit about this Arsenal team, whether they're going to fold. Do you guys like Southampton today?
I know Foxy likes what? Nottingham, right?
No, I think Foxy's on Nottingham. So double chance, I think.
I don't think Southampton was awful in their last game, but like this is not a game I want to touch.
Yeah, I would rather
Nottingham. This is like
Forest or draws -130.
This is like what we call in American football a garbage bowl.
Yeah,
this is the trash bowl right here. Yeah, two of the worst teams.
We don't. Yeah.
Nottingham Forest. If you get Nottingham Forest double chance at -125, I think it's. I think Forest is a better team, to be honest. I think Southampton's in a lot of trouble. I think they're going to go down. You look at the table here; they're in last, -17 goal difference. Forest has been better of late. Obviously, with the big win or the big draw the other day against Chelsea, and then the win over Crystal Palace before the break, Brentford, the win over Liverpool, the draw with Brighton. I don't think they've actually been bad. This Southampton team, I just think is. Sorry, let me do results.
If you're looking for some big value today, just fade West Ham.
I don't think Southampton's been great. They lost to Fulham. They didn't play badly. They lost to Brighton 3-1. They lost to Liverpool 3-1. They lost to Newcastle. Let me just tell you something. Newcastle scored 4 goals against them. What does that tell you? And Newcastle, they give up a lot of goals lately. So maybe Nottingham Forest has the players that could maybe hurt them. I think that's an interesting game, to be honest. I don't really like Southampton. Maybe I like the over there. They've been giving up goals. Look, this West Ham game is really interesting.
It keeps going up. Like it was plus 150 for Leeds, I think, yesterday, and maybe the day before. Now it's gotten up to pretty much even on it both sides. 162. I have it in my book for each.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting game. Of the games today, when you're looking at these, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, do you actually like any of these games to bet today?
I mean, yeah, I guess two of the 4 I like. Like I said, I wouldn't bet the Southampton Nottingham one. I'm not really interested in Aston Villa Wolves either. I mean, I think there's value in the Leeds West Ham game just because, I look at West Ham the way I look at Leicester City. Leicester City went into yesterday kind of the same similar script. They hadn't scored a goal back from the break, and they allowed 2 goals in both. Or no, they did score. They scored 1 goal in their 2 matches from the break, and that was against Liverpool. And then they allowed 2 goals in each of those matches. And obviously, they lost at home to Fulham yesterday. They started to look a lot better in the last 15, 20 minutes. They really started to press Fulham, and they could have tied that one. But at the same time, West Ham comes into this one, 5 goals allowed and 1 goal scored in their 2 matches back from the break. This is not a team that's playing well right now. Their lineup, they started Scamacca in the last match, but I think they're gonna sit him again, and they'll have Mikel and Antonio in there. But still, this is such a I don't know. This team is not playing well right now. I thought Leeds played very well against Newcastle in their last match to hold them to a 0-0 draw in Newcastle. I watched that game. Newcastle was pressing them really hard. And just like how Arsenal couldn't score on Newcastle yesterday, Leeds was doing the same thing to Newcastle in that match. So I think there's a chance, Leeds, this West Ham defense, as you said you watched their last match. West Ham came out for 20 minutes and then they gave up the goal and just absolutely collapsed. So, they're going to be away from home here. I think that if they give up an early goal against this decent Leeds side, there might not be a way back into the match for them.
What do you think about this other game, the Palace and knock over all my plants. Palace and Tottenham game.
I don't think you could trust Tottenham. I told you I was done after they lost at home as a -150 favorite in their last match. That was like the final straw for me. If you can't win at home coming out of the break when you're desperate for points, knowing that you've been slipping down the table, like how do you expect to go away from home where you've been terrible on the road all year? And now what? You're gonna walk into Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has actually been pretty good at home this year.
Yeah,
and they score goals home, which is something they haven't done in the past. So
I think you got to take that last game out. You know, the 3-0 loss to Fulham because of the early red card. You know, that's
2 red cards they got in that one.
2. Like, I mean, you know, when you get a red card in the 34th minute, you're not winning a game. You know, you're not playing. You're not playing, and you're already down at that point. You're not playing for 60 minutes down, winning the game, and then obviously. And
to be fair, it took like another 50 minutes for Fulham to add a goal on with the man advantage.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think this Palace team I think this is an interesting game, to be honest. That's the Newcastle gets criticized versus Arsenal. Leeds get credit for even worse style versus Newcastle.
Newcastle gets criticized because their dirty tactics of time wasting.
Hey, Fox, you guys want to be with the big boys, you got to get used to this stuff, man. You got to get used to it.
Always there.
No, this is what Manchester United's been dealing with for 40 years. You guys you're back in the big time now, Foxy. You got to deal with the criticism. You guys got you're gonna get.
See, that's the thing, Foxy. The bar is higher for Newcastle now because they're in the top 4.
Top 3, yep.
They got a higher bar. Like Leeds, I don't expect a lot from Leeds. So going into Newcastle, holding them to a 0-0 draw, that's damn good for what I consider, mediocre team. Newcastle, I think, is a good team, Foxy. So yeah, you're gonna get criticized for poor performance. You guys need to score some goals if you want to keep that top 4 spot. I'm rooting for you, Foxy. I thought yesterday was. Terrible showing. You guys just like to toss the ball away. Got tons of help from the rep, but I'm rooting for your Newcastle. I hope they finish top 4. Okay, I've been vouching for them the past few shows, so don't get mad at me. I'm gonna call it how I see it.
Jim, what will you watch one of these games today?
Yeah, I think the Leeds game to me is interesting.
I think that would probably be the game I would pick here. I'm going to try to watch the first half of that, just because talk Greg Berhalter and all the stuff that came out yesterday from 30 years ago, and I don't think he's going to be the new his contract expired and everything, but I see he's trying to get somebody tried to blackmail him for something that happened 30 years ago with his girlfriend, who's now his wife. So people are talking about Jesse Marsch maybe taking the U.S. job, but why would you step down from Leeds? Premier League is it's you're pinnacle.
Yeah, they came out with a projected U.S. Men's national team yesterday. If you want, I can share that with you for a minute. We can take a look at it if you guys want to run through the team. Here's what they said. The goalkeepers, they got Turner, who's playing at Arsenal, Slovenia at Chelsea, and Horvath at Nottingham Forest.
Mm-hmm.
So and the guy.
I like Turner. I mean, he's got to probably leave to go somewhere. Yeah. I mean, it can't just be a backup at Everton or backup at Arsenal. Sorry. I mean, clearly they like Ramsdale.
They got Zach Steffen at Manchester City as as somebody to keep your eye on.
Yeah, Foxy Atalanta. I think that's a team that when you look at the table here, it's 2-0 Spezia, but I think that's a team, they're in 7th and a little bit of danger here. That's one of these teams, they had that really good run. They made a quarterfinal of the Champions League. They kind of beat the odds, but now, I think they're in danger of maybe falling back a little bit. I think they were playing so much over their heads. I mean, if you remember that, the Atalanta Valencia game in 2020 was the thing that spread COVID around Europe. Basically they traced it back to that game because Italy was one of the countries that was so hard hit early in the pandemic. But they ended up making a quarterfinal that year. But they're a team, if they fall back, I mean, they're going to have to sell some players, you think, and then, obviously not sustainable in the long run against Napoli, Milan, Inter, Juventus, Lazio, Roma. Those teams are obviously going to be near the top of the table, but Torino may be a good live play. They dominated the first half, even though they're down 1-0. Yeah, Bill, if you're watching the game, that might be interesting because once again, when I do the live plays, I like to watch. If they're dominating the game like that, that might be a good bet. You probably get them here. Let's see, you get them live right now at plus 300 on this site. Maybe more somewhere else. So yeah, that might be a decent play. There's some interesting games coming up here in Serie A. Like I said, you got the Roma, Bologna, Lecce, and Lazio in the next window. 12:30, Cremonese and Juventus. Juventus has been, I know you don't like them, but they've been much better here.
Have they really? I mean,
they get results.
They're getting results, but 1-0, 1-0.
Defensively, I think. I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah. No, they're great defensively. Don't get me wrong. 7 goals in 15 matches, 4 goals in their 7 away matches. They're great defensively, but they don't score goals. Vlahovic is going to be out today. It's going to be Malik and Moise Kean
as their
2 strikers. So I don't know what kind of goals they're scoring in this match.
I'll tell you what, Napoli at plus 205 here in this game. I know it's at Inter, but look, Napoli hasn't lost yet. Inter's got 5 losses.
Also, you know what? Say what you want about Cremonese. They've had 2 scoreless draws in their last 2 home matches. So
all right.
They're not giving up goals either. Only 1 goal allowed in their last 3 at home.
And then there's the Copa del Rey. I mean, Bill, hopefully you took those 3 average keepers. USA has had some great keepers back in the day with Howard, Keller, Friedel, Hanneman. Yeah, Foxy, Matt Turner, I think, is, probably pretty good, but their problem is up the pitch, man. I mean, they have to kind of
here's the projected team. We talked about the goalkeepers a minute ago. The goalkeepers they're talking about is Turner, Slovenia, and Horvath. Keep an eye on Zach Steffen, who's at Man City.
He's at Middlesbrough.
Oh, clearly they didn't put the right people in this. Jedi Robinson and John Tolkien at Red Bull as the back. So keep an eye on these guys. At center back, Miles Robinson, Chris Richards, Austin Trusty, Jack Elliott, James Sands. And we got the right back, Sergio Dest, I'm sorry, and Joe Scally. Midfield, Tyler Adams, Eric Williamson. Midfield, Weston McKenzie, Eunice Musa, Luca Torre, and Paxton. And the wings, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, who was lost, in translation in when they played in the World Cup, Tim Welsh, Brandon Arson, and Cruz Medina. And then we move up to center forward, Sargent, Velasquez, and Pepe. And that's where we are, folks. This would be the starting lineup projected with for 2026 right there. Any thoughts?
Yeah, that team doesn't do anything.
How do you not have Timothy Weah as a starter?
Timothy Weah, I mean, I don't understand why Brendan Aronson, like, where's Brendan Aronson? Like,
It's under Reyna's.
yeah, no.
Yeah, he's right under
Brendan Aronson's the best player on the team going forward. That's not even a thing. Musa's a monster. I don't know about Weston McKinney. He's always injured. Tyler Adams is very good.
I think McKinney's going to play today.
Robin, is he?
Yeah, for Juventus.
Robinson is good. Dest is good. Aronson obviously needs to be starting somewhere, and he's not a winger. I think they need an upgrade on Sargent, and I think they need an upgrade on Pulisic. But I don't know.
Number 9 seems to be a big issue across all soccer these days.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, you can't, I guess there's no 9s. I don't understand.
Can I just say it bothers me how slow Mitrovic is? Oh my God. Watching him yesterday on a few minutes. I know he scores and he scored the goal for them yesterday, but man, I see this guy like get the ball around, like, going into the final third. And I'm like, he's getting stopped. There's no way he gets past 2 defenders. He's so slow.
Yeah, it's like it's getting to the point where it's.
Amadeus, you mentioned that everybody seems to need a 9. Why is it so difficult to find one?
I think part of the issue is it's tough to find like a really good striker in the sense where as I was just touching on Mitrovic's speed, obviously a younger guy in their early 20s is going to have the speed and the pace to play in the number 9 position, but their mindset is not going to be fully developed yet, and they're going to make critical mistakes in that position. I think that to have the right mindset as a striker, it's more so in the 25 to 29 range, and I think that's where the issue is coming. Is like it's right now it's tough because a lot of these strikers, either they have the mental game, the mental capacity to play the position, but they don't have the physical abilities to keep up. And then the younger kids, they have the physical abilities to play the position, but the mental game's not developed yet. So they make critical mistakes.
So let me ask you both. In a comparison, would a 9 be a 2, a point guard? I'm not a shooting guard in basketball. Yes, no. I mean, the analogy being that you need somebody who can who has no fear about shooting.
Yeah, I think
the
9 is more like for a team like US that has Musa, Aronson, the creative players running off, you almost want the 9 to be able to hold the ball a little bit. This is what Manchester United is trying to do right now. Coactus, what's up, guys? What's up, Coactus? This is what Manchester United's trying to do right now. I mean, they need somebody to have kind of block, hold the ball up and score some goals, obviously, for the 9, but get all these other players involved in all the runs. So I think everybody wants Erling Haaland, but he's a robot. Like, he's just a freak. There's not many players like a Zlatan. But
that guy's so injured right now.
It's just weird here. Like, Haaland's been on 4 teams already. Like, Zlatan's been on 100 teams. Like, if they're so good, why are they always moving teams? Like, I understand why Haaland is, because he's he's going to go from City to if he stays
from Salzburg to Dortmund to City,
mold to Salzburg to Dortmund to City, and then from here it's only Real Madrid. But it's just it's hard to find those guys, the tall target guys. I mean,
right.
People are talking about Morata right now, and he's a mess for Chelsea at times. Giroud is a perfect example for me. of a guy. He's old.
It's my guy.
Yeah, Giroud is, he's a guy like everywhere he goes, the guy wins. Chelsea,
AC Milan, they won the title last year when they got him.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
So it's more of a playmaker role.
You got to score goals too, but you got to be.
I'm just saying you have to have that special balance of being able to score, but at the same time distribute and control pace.
Yes.
Yeah, there's situations too where some other players, they don't take shots when they're in close or they try to get the extra touch. You're not going to find with a good number 9. He's gonna take his one touch and power it at the net, like we saw Mitrovic do yesterday. I don't know if you saw the goal Fulham scored, but
I didn't see that one.
It was absolutely beautiful. It was like a through ball in, but like through the air, and it just came down. He chested down right to his foot and bang into the back of the net past the keeper. So like that's what you're looking for. And Mitrovic is a good number 9 now because he scores goals. Now he's more of the guy that Sean's talking about, that obviously, with his pace, he can hold up the play, kind of has to hold up the play, and he allows numbers to get forward, and then they can figure out, their strategy once they get into the final third there. But it all depends, right? Like Lukaku, when he was in his prime, he had the pace and he had the strength. So if you got Lukaku on a one-on-one coming down, like he was going to beat that defender more times than not. And I don't know. Number 9s, they'll take a shot from anywhere too. They can shoot outside the box, inside the box. It's all, I think, scoring. It really is the thing that separates, because obviously some of these teams struggle so much to score goals.
So if you and Sean had to pick your top 5 9s in history of soccer, who would they be? Either of you can go first.
Ronaldo, not Cristiano, the real one.
Not the fake one.
Yeah.
I would put Mbappe in there when they let him play number 9, because he's going to be great. For me, it's tough because I'm only 24, so it's like I haven't seen the amount of players that you would.
You got to put like Alfredo Di Stefano, obviously from the 50s, but if you're talking about,
I'm not saying you have to.
Yeah.
You can let's. I'll tell you what. Let's take it from the 1980s up. Then saves you some time.
Let's see.
Was Maradona a 9?
I feel like he was more of a 10, to be honest.
Who was one of my favorite back in the day? Kaká. When he played on my AC Milan, he was like the whole team.
I think, you talk, obviously Ronaldo is there. I don't, people will talk about Alan Shearer, but maybe, I don't know. He was good, but still before my time. I know Ronaldo was good. He won Ballon d'Or. George Weah, Timothy Weah's dad, he's the only African player to ever win the Ballon d'Or. You could make a case, Marco van Basten. My guy, I'm gonna say my guy, Van Nistelrooy. I'll put him up there. Karim Benzema. There's a lot of players before my time. Miroslav Klose was obviously very good as well. But Ruud van Nistelrooy for me, Benzema for me. In the modern game, Zlatan. You guys say Zlatan. Obviously, he's just changed the game, and Harry Kane, I guess. But at some point you got to win trophies.
Yeah.
At some point you got to win games.
And Drogba, Didier Drogba, I
loved Drogba.
Unbelievable. Like he's he played for Chelsea, so I did.
Back when Ivory Coast could actually make the World Cups.
There's Foxy's top 5.
Ronaldo, Shearer, Drogba, Van Basten, Batistuta. Yeah, look, if Foxy, I agree. That's probably Shearer was a little before my time, kind of. I mean, he was there. I think you make that argument. Even Drogba went out of style. It seems to be coming back now. The youth teams have been trying to produce quick players over recent years. Yet, I think that's probably true. I mean, so that kind of goes a little bit away. I mean, they did this, that tiki-taka nonsense, kind of got away with it because, the false nine, Messi's a false nine, that thing, they talk about the false nine. Now we need a nine. So I think, football goes in cycles. So hopefully that does come back. But yeah, it's Manchester United actually has a couple players in the academy that could do that position. So that would be interesting.
We got Rashford that could play, I think, the number 9 spot. He's been showing some real potential in his last few matches now, coming back from the break.
Yep.
I'm the one guy, because I'm older, that I was going to throw into the mix is Johan Cruyff.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you look at what he did, your guy
changed the game.
Van Nistelrooy plays a lot like him. Played a lot like him.
Look, I mean, he's both Dutch. Van Nistelrooy actually, he's following in Cruyff's footsteps now. I mean, he's doing a great job at PSV as the coach. And look, he was, United was going to get him, and then he tore up his knee, and then they got him later, and he was just absolutely a monster for 4 or 5 years there. And
he actually had some game when he played in the NASL, which was toward the end of his career.
Yeah. He's the reason that Barcelona is Barcelona now, the Barcelona DNA, Cruyff. So
definitely, it was definitely fun to watch, because I know the old NASL had some players, but what made him fun is and some of the others as well. You could see that they still had something. They may not be able to play the whole game, but for spurts of 5 or 6 minutes, you could see how really good they were. And I think that was part of the fun of watching the old NASL, in which you could see that kind of stuff. You could even see Rodney Marsh do it, which was scary. And Rodney wasn't a great. I mean, in English lore, he was not a great soccer player, but in the NASL, he was good. By the way, Suarez just joined newly promoted in Brazil.
Sean mentioned that the other day to me, I think on one of the shows, and that was literally my first reaction, because I remember we were talking about how he went back to National, to play for his Uruguayan club, but. I said to Sean, told me he had joined Gremio, and I said the only reason he would join Gremio is they must have been promoted, and we were trying to figure that out. But they're in their Campeonato right now, playing their 20 million different leagues. So I don't think we ever got the answer on that. But okay, thanks, Foxy. Good. So Gremio is newly promoted. That's the only reason why Suarez would join. He wanted to play some competitive soccer. It's the only thing I can think of.
Which is not a bad thing. Yeah, you definitely want to be able to play against good teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. He went back to National because it was, I guess, his home club, and then he wasn't even there for half a year, and now he's back. Now he's in Gremio.
He didn't send his laundry out.
Yeah. So his stuff was still at Atletico Madrid in Spain.
Yeah. He
just sent them a new address. Like, hey, I'm here now.
Deliver to this address, please.
Yeah, don't deliver to Uruguay.
Don't unpack anything. It's like, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Any final thoughts, boys, on what you want to see today or things you're looking for?
I hope Bill stayed off Notre Dame yesterday. Boston College won.
Did they?
Big time.
Boston College won. I think it was 64-61 or something like that.
Well, they covered the spread, number one, and they won outright.
I want to show you guys something just real quickly here because I've now made it in the world here.
Oh, we like that.
You've made it in the world.
There you go.
Dubai owners confirmed. Fans react hilariously as leaked image of Manchester United's away kit for next season. There I am, right at the top of the story.
Oh,
Welcome, Dubai owners confirmed. Fans were left disgusted as the kit with that of Newcastle United. Blah blah blah. Some fans even said the new black and white striped jersey. It's not black, it's green. So where am I here? So
we lost you.
Yeah, I'm here somewhere in this.
You were at the top.
Oh,
that's what matters.
Breaking, right. The actual thing, but yeah, I'm at the top of the story right there.
Look at you.
Congratulations.
Sportskeeda, that's a big site too.
Well done, you. That's good to know, and you've been on that for almost a month. You know,
wow,
that was going to be the guy.
Nice.
And just guessing, because we don't know, but just guessing, how much more money did the Glazers come up with now that that thing was? I mean, because when Dubai buys you, that's almost a blank check.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and they make they make more money than anybody. Foxy, that kid is green. It's the whole reason I put that thing on Sportskeeda, or I'm on Sportskeeda, is when you look at the actual kit, the stripes are green, not black. So like it looks kind of black, but they're actually dark green. Yeah, they had mentioned like a couple months ago that they're gonna have dark green. So it's dark green, white, and red with black, which is the flag of Dubai.
Flag, yeah.
So like I put that on there, and then because I just when I'm on Twitter a lot of times I just do stuff to be like a jerk. So like I do
Sean's the biggest
like they picked it up, man.
That's pretty normal for Twitter, isn't it? I mean, supposed to speculate wildly on something you don't know. That's but why would you, if you are okay? And kudos to Dubai for getting the team, but if you're gonna plunk down that cash, why in God's name would you do one of those mock-up jersey things, which could easily be leaked, which obviously it was, but I imagine Dubai leaked it.
I think they have to do the kids start coming out because they have to start being processed. So like there's a whole it's crazy. Like this guy Umar, who follows the show, he does leaked lineups, like this whole leaked thing with like leaked kits and leaked everybody, like people want leaked lineups. Like the lineup come out an hour before the game. Right. So like people are like, I need to know the lineup like right now, an hour and 10 minutes before the game. Like what is 10 minutes gonna do for like it's so weird.
Well, what's the difference between
just like, I need to know the lineup. Like I need to know what the kit's gonna be like next year. What's the difference? You can't buy it for 6 months.
Right. The in the NFL, 90 minutes before kick, the final, updated injury report comes out. So at that point if A, B, or C is going to play. So it's an hour out. Do they list any? They don't list any injuries prior to the final.
Well, they do. Like what, for soccer? You mean? Yeah, they do. I mean, who's like. You could like for Manchester United games, you could probably pick 9 of the 11. Like yesterday, we knew like probably 3 hours out that who was going to be Donny van der Beek was going to be in the lineup. So and then he ended up like either tearing his ACL or breaking his leg. So like tough break, but so we knew that. Like these little drips and drabs come out. Like usually don't get the whole. There's usually because there's leaks in the locker room somewhere, but that's why sometimes when we're talking about the show and you say like for purposes, hey, listen, make sure you check the lineup an hour before.
Right.
Sometimes Real Madrid will put the lineup out like 3 hours early because they don't care. But the Premier League, like an hour, like if Manchester United is playing at 3:00, at 2:00 on the nose, that's when the time. When I was doing the social media for that Rochester team, like I would tell the people, like, listen, I need the line. Like people are looking for the lineup at this time. Like I need the lineup. And like every game, they would give it to me at a different time. I'm like, look, that's not how it's like. You got like you're just not doing it correctly. We need time to have it and then put the graphic out. So like I need 20, I need it at 2 hours before. So like people know the line because there's people have to make the graphic and things. Sure. So if you get in with the people making the graphic, all of a sudden, like maybe the graphic person's leaking the line, maybe the thing. So like, and like you can get this big Twitter following if you get a leak lineup and stuff like that. Plus it's also for gambling purposes, I guess. But it's just.
I would actually put that at the top and then flip the other one down to the bottom of the 1-2.
Plus money, you're right.
Notre Dame did give it up late. They were like up by 10 in the first half. But I don't know.
They couldn't close.
Virginia was up big in their game too, and they lost outright to Pittsburgh as well. So wacky things happen with these home teams in college basketball. That's why home advantage big. Yeah,
and then you've got the deal with where you're just talking about the lineups coming up. We used to the graphics operator on Selection Sunday for the March Madness. They started giving the graphics operators that information, about an hour before everybody else got it. And so they could put it in the Chiron so that whenever, they have that show, the Selection Sunday show, you can't just type that in real time. You need time to do it. And so they, the joke used to be, can you get a hold of Carol Leff? And it's like, not on Sunday because Carol Leff is entering all of that data into the graphics machine. So I guess she's sequestered in some rooms. When back in the day it was in Shawnee Mission, Kansas, and now it's in Indianapolis. So it's you can look for telltale signs somewhere. Somebody's gonna try to give you a nudge one way or the other to tell you what's going on. Not like Bill Belichick, who puts 14 guys on the questionable list just because he wants you to try to figure out who's got in the way of linebackers and all that other stuff. But now you're right. There's two things that drive interest in lineups early, and this is in all sports. It's not just in football. Is two things. One is gambling. The other is fantasy sports. They want to know if their guy is playing. Otherwise, they got to change up their lineup. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons the leagues have gotten better at putting stuff out because they know how important the fantasy, aspect of it is to them. So, and if you look at the graphics under almost every sporting event, you'll see that they're literally listing on that crawl underward. They're always putting up the player and what the stats are at that time in real time. So you can watch and keep up with it. I mean, that's that first, fantasy changed it, and then the actual ability to gamble changed it.
That's right.
The necessity to know.
Yeah.
So there you go. Final thoughts, guys, as we move on from here. Let's see. We get all the questions from the gang. Foxy. I'm sorry, Foxy, I can't read this, so let me put it up.
I've already made bets on Sinistera scoring for Leeds today, knowing I'll get my money back as he's injured and it's activated. Free bets to use. Good job, man.
Gotta fleece the books.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's working. He's working extra time here, Foxy.
That's what you do, man.
Yeah.
Game the system.
Gotta fleece them.
Yeah. I've never seen anybody leave Las Vegas with a casino. So somebody's got to win, and it's and if you can beat the house, that's not a bad thing. All right, guys. Well, we got some good games today, and tomorrow when we come back, we'll reflect on it. And there's a bunch of stuff coming up because tomorrow, of course, there's a Thursday night football game, and we'll probably throw that in just for the heck of it. And,
Is there a game tomorrow night?
There was. Let me make sure. Hang on.
But there's no game this week because it's the last.
Oh, wait a minute. You're right. It's the last week of the season.
There's 2 Saturday games. The Chiefs, Raiders, and Titans, Jaguars.
The Titans Jaguars got flexed to Saturday night.
Yes, that's good. I was getting mad. They put that Packers game on Sunday night, and I said, you know what, the Jacksonville game is for the division title. Yeah. And then they put it on Saturday night, which I think, to be honest, there are probably going to be more people watching that game because it's a Saturday night. So that's good that they put that in their own window. And obviously the Chiefs need to win. The only problem I have with this schedule, and I don't think it's fair to the Lions, or I don't think it's fair to the Lions, is that if Seattle wins against the Rams, the Lions are out. So they have nothing to beat. So like that, to me, that's not fair. They should have put a different game in that window.
Well, they could still play spoiler. I think they would want to try to keep the Packers out still.
Yeah, but it's not really, in the world, they play every game at the same time. Like I don't know. I think they.
Well, even baseball has gotten to the point now where they play all of the final games of the season, regular season games. All are played at 3:30, so that everybody, so you can, if you're going to scoreboard watch, games aren't over before you get started. But I don't know. I don't know why they flex. Honestly, Detroit and Green Bay do not move the needle for me. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. By the way, one last thing about football while we're here. There's been a lot of old school writers who are telling you that the Amazon deal just has not been good for football. If the first, and we've had 16 games, 17 games on Thursday night now.
Yeah.
Of those 16 games, if the Amazon game were counted in Nielsen's, which they are now, every Thursday night Amazon wins in total television watchers, and they're streaming. They also beat what the NFL Network used to do when the NFL Network held the rights. So please stop. Those of you out there who do not know what you're talking about, please stop with this crap that, putting the games on Amazon is a bad move. Well, look, A, it's not, and B, they put their most valuable non-game package, I mean, in other words, NBC, ABC, the people who own the rights to doing the live games, they put that entire package, which is a Sunday ticket, on YouTube.
Yep.
I mean, they wouldn't have done that if they didn't have a strong feeling that was worth doing. So you can be haters on streaming, which is fine, but don't be stupid. So Titans totally useless. I don't think they're going to trade Henry. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Especially when they fired their GM literally for trading AJ Brown, and then as soon as they faced him and he lit them up for 200 yards, that was the end of the general manager. Why did you trade this guy away?
Oh no, that's not going to happen, boys and girls. And the Harbaugh saga continues. Carolina and Detroit all looking in the Harbaugh direction.
Yeah, and apparently he's willing to go. I mean, as Sean said, if he couldn't win this year at Michigan, he's never going to win a title. So maybe he realizes it's time to go.
Well, he has back-to-back wins over Ohio State, so I guess he went there to what accomplished.
And first 13-0 start to the season ever, I guess, for Michigan too. So I mean, he did some stuff there.
Yeah, he had a few goodies. So yeah, we'll see if he re-enters the coaching zone.
So he can lose to his brother in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, well, he blamed it on the lights. Remember, there was a 15-minute delay at the Superdome in New Orleans where the lights went out.
Was that game? Oh my God, I remember that.
That's the Super Bowl. And that was the game that Joe Flacco won. I think he won MVP.
And then dissipated into the ether.
No, it got him.
His career.
It got him $100 million contract. Which, in fairness' sake, for those of you out there who aren't up on this, that's really not $100 million. NFL contracts are not what they specifically say they are. You got to look at the bonus and then deferred money and then actual cash. So that was worth about $60 million, which none of us are going to turn down, but it said $100 million. It was worth about $60 million at the end of the day. So the Jets are have Flacco on the team. They're paying him probably league minimum if they're paying him at all. So talk about playing with house money. That's where that goes. So too much wear and tear. I wouldn't disagree with that last part. There's just too much wear and tear on Henry. But trading him, unless you could pull back and get, 4 or 5 draft choices for him, I don't think I'd do it. Because you know what? In 2 years' time, he probably isn't going to be able to make it. Because that's, if you've got a running back like that, you work like that. That's not a good thing. So, all right, boys and girls. All kinds of fun and interesting questions and banter. So tomorrow, we won't talk about football because, as Sean very aptly put, they are playing. So that's good. We'll have more time to talk about the other football. All right, guys. Any final thoughts, or you want to get this show on the road?
Let's get the show on the road.
All right.